Hi, my name is Ada Polla. I'm the CEO of Alchimie Forever Skincare, and thank you, Spa Standard, for inviting me to speak to you today about over-exfoliation. This is actually one of my favorite topics because I see it so much. Although I have to say, thankfully, I feel like we are starting as an industry to come back to a appropriate level of exfoliation, but certainly for a couple of years, I think both our industry and the spa guest and spa consumer really went into this over-exfoliation trend. So how do you spot it? Well, I'm sure you've seen the guest addicted to her Obagi or overusing her various acids and too high concentrations of retinols. Typically, her skin will be very red, very raw, extremely tight, but not in a good way. And really, if it's taken to an extreme, almost shiny. So those are the signs for you to look at or look for. Typically, she doesn't see it that way. It's a very odd thing, really. So she may not even realize what she's doing, but she may tell you that her skin tingles, is very sensitive, and that it hurts to be in the sun, for example. So again, redness, that rawness, which sometimes looks a little shiny, and excessive tightness are signs of over-exfoliation. Addressing it really has two components to it. There's an education, almost psychological component, and then there's the treatment therapeutic component. So in terms of re-educating the customer, I think it's really important to make her realize that while exfoliation is good and while anti-aging, aggressive ingredients are really good and there's a room for appeal in everyone's skincare routine, overdoing it really will lead to accelerated skin aging. And typically the woman who's over-exfoliating is concerned either about breakouts and or if she's using more acid peels or retinols, she's concerned about aging. So really focus on explaining to her that creating all of this inflammation in her skin will accelerate aging because inflammation is one of the key processes of skin aging. You may have to explain that to her a few different times and also explain to her that cutting down on her exfoliation a little bit will not only help in terms of the side effects of over-exfoliation, but will actually also make her skin look even better. And I think when she starts to see this, she'll trust you and she will more easily listen to your recommendations. In terms of treating it, of course, you need to help her reduce the frequency of exfoliation. Encourage her to perhaps review her retinol selection and move to a slightly more gentle version of a retinol-based product, and incorporating anti-inflammatory and calming products in her routine. Don't try to take away all of her exfoliating products at the same time. Maybe she can use them a little bit less frequently, but make sure you add moisturizers or masks that will help to quell redness, calm inflammation, and be extremely gentle and soothing to the skin. I think one other thing that many women still don't realize, and perhaps men as well, is that we tend to do things every day that actually have an exfoliating effect. And if you don't realize that those things are steps in your exfoliation process and still over-exfoliate, that compounds the problem. So for example, shaving. Men shave every day, or some men shave every day. Shaving is a form of exfoliation. Same with women and their legs, although now we're really speaking more about the skin of the face. But remind your guests that shaving counts as exfoliation. And the same is true with sonic cleansing, even the more gentle sonic cleansing options. Everybody loves their Clarisonic, which is a wonderful device. But that really is a form of physical exfoliation. And so if you're using that once a day, every day, you need to incorporate that into the realization that you're already exfoliating your skin. Like I said, I think that this is much less of a problem today than it was even 5 years ago. But over-exfoliation will make your skin age more quickly. It will make your skin more sensitized and sensitive in the long run. And it will make it less comfortable and less beautiful. Two other things about exfoliation. The first is, let's remember what the purpose is. The core purpose of exfoliation is to help our cellular turnover. So help those skin cells that are dead, that's totally normal, they need to slough off. When we're young, like everything else, that natural process works perfectly well. As we age, that natural sloughing process slows, and so those dead skin cells, instead of naturally falling off, if you will, stay on the skin, which means that you get a little bit more of a dullness to your complexion, your skin is less bright, and the products that you apply to your face won't have the as effective of the desired effects, since you have this layer of dead skin cells. So when should you start exfoliating? I'd say if you have normal skin and breakouts or pimples are not a problem, a good time to start exfoliating is late 20s, early 30s. That's really when these natural systems start to very slowly become a little lazier. Of course, the other reason for exfoliation is if you have excessively clogged pores. When this is not a question of what age you are in terms of your natural exfoliating process taking place, it's much more about skin type. And so if you find that you're seeing guests that are younger, in their teens and early 20s, but that have clogged pores, very visible blackheads, whiteheads, prone to acne, there you might want to recommend a good exfoliator just to help keep the skin extra cleansed, extra clean. So in general, when talking about exfoliation, depending on skin type, 1 to 3 times per week is where your sweet spot is going to be. You'll notice 0 is not an option. I think if you're in your late 20s onwards, exfoliating at least once a week, even if you have the most perfect complexion, is good for maintenance. Anything starting 4 times a week or more starts to be a little excessive and can be a little too aggressive on your skin. So helping our guests to really realize that exfoliation is good, but there is too much of a good thing, is one of the key things that we do as skincare professionals. And I hope this was helpful, and thank you very much.